Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here to join our webinar today. We're going to be talking today about creating courses, managing features, and editing. So we'll be talking today about requirements that we need to have in place for a course to be available to schedule. Then some just basic, what you need to basically create a course, and course editing and versioning. Then we'll talk about the basic information tab features and the advanced tab features and show you what those things look like. So let's go and take a look. For our create a course, we're going to, in the basics of just creating a course are pretty simple. Really, you just need to put in a name for the course, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to hop around because we're going to cover a lot of these things later. You must have a content provider, and a content provider is something that will eventually not be required. You can see there's different required fields with the asterisks here. But right now we're still using it for billing and as a way for us to see who your content vendor is. That might be yourself, or it could be Microsoft Official Curriculum, or EC Council, or Logical Operations, or CompTIA, someone else. So you do have to have that field in as it is required. The other two things that we're going to look at here, really right now you could just save this and create a course. You don't have to have activities like lab activities or anything. You don't have to mark availability right now, but it is something that you need in order to make your course available to be scheduled. So there's 3 different things that you need in place in order to make your course available. And you can see right now this course has not been added to a publishing group to be available for use. That's one of the things, we'll get to that in a minute. If you do not have available instructor-led or available self-paced checked, your course will not be available to publish. When you do this, I have the wrong one there. Sorry. Then there are no training formats here. And those are our training formats. It's either going to be able to be scheduled into a class or scheduled into self-paced training through a course assignment. And if no training formats are available, you can see I can find classes, but I cannot create a class, and I cannot create a course assignment. So until those are in place, you cannot do that. Another one is that you cannot have it archived. So archiving a course takes it away from being able to be scheduled, but anything that has already been scheduled using it, or any training that has been based on it, like a class and the students having post-class access to their labs, or a course assignment, those things are not affected. So you can have classes scheduled out in the future, but they're still going to use that course, and the labs are still going to be available. But this course will not be available for scheduling. And as you can see, this course is archived. And again, I don't have the ability to create a class or a course. We were talking about archiving. You can archive just immediately by checking the box, or if you want, you can set up an archive date when you know that you're going to be shutting down this course and you don't want it to be used for scheduling anymore. Maybe you have a new version that'll be available, or not. One thing I forgot to mention is if you do not have available instructor-led and or available self-paced marked, it gives you a special little offering of being able to show a course as, why is everything disappearing on me today? As, it's not here, coming soon. So right up here, there'll be a coming soon icon, and it would show that way in your course catalog, on your find courses, and in your subscriptions. So if you have a subscription that you're updating and you have a catalog based on it. And last but not least is our publishing groups is another piece that has to be in place in order for you to be able to schedule classes. And to add a publishing group, basically, you're probably wondering what a publishing group is. And this is what's going to take the place of content providers in the future. If a publishing group isn't added, then it's not available to schedule. You can limit that, which can be good, because once it's scheduled for a class or course assignment, your labs are locked down. So you won't be able to edit your course any longer after it's been scheduled or delivered. Like a class has started, a course assignment is considered delivered the moment it's created. And you won't be able to add or remove any labs, and you'll have to create a new course in order to update your labs. So what do course assignments do? Publishing groups do. They manage availability for courses to organizations. That might be to your own organization, or if you're selling courses to other organizations, it manages that as well. So if you are an organization, you're creating your own courses and not selling courses to anyone else, then all you have to do is select the publishing group with your org name in it, and you'll add it, you'll search, you'll decide which one it is that you want to use, and you probably only have one available if it's just you creating courses for your organization. But some organizations are out there creating courses and selling them to other organizations, and this allows them to set up which publishing groups they want the content to be in and what organizations they want it to be available to. So once you do that, you can in fact save it, and you'll see I no longer you don't have a publishing group in here. I obviously did not make it available, instructor-led or self-paced. And now we finally have that create class and create course assignment, because everything is met. I have made it available to create classes and also to create course assignments, and I have a publishing group. It is not archived, and now it is available to be scheduled into training. So an example, let's hope we get to the right one. Nope, I am really out there. There's my coming soon. Look, there it is. And then we're going to look at new and featured in a minute. I have a lot of things out here that I'm now wondering why. Oh, so this one is a course that has already been scheduled, and the class started on Monday of this week. And you'll see now that I go to edit it, it says this course has been delivered by class or a course assignment, and some fields cannot be changed. If you need to update the content, we recommend using the Save As button to create a new version of the course for future deliveries. And you can see all of these fields are open to be changed. The only thing that is no longer open to be changed is adding or removing a lab. So if I come down here, I no longer have the ability, which should be right here, to add a lab. And if I had a lab scheduled in here, I would no longer have the ability to remove it. So at this point, if I do want to make changes to my course, I do need to save as, and I can put in my new name for it and hit save. Then it's going to open up that course for me to edit, and I can come in now and add a lab, which wasn't there before, and make the changes and save it. So once you have delivered either through course assignment or a class has started, you will not be able to make changes to any of the labs, because that is what we bill by. So, and you can use versioning here to keep updated on what version of the course you're on or for yourself and all of that information. Let's go back and look at our creating a course. So we have a name in here for our course. A short name is just an abbreviation or anything, maybe a nickname you call the course. Versioning is for updated courses. Anything that you've made changes, you can add a new version after you've saved it. This description is just a text field. It shows up right down here under the basic information. It is not formatable. If that's a word. If you want to format or add images or links, you can use the HTML description to do that. Search words allow you to add words that you'll use in Find Courses in order to search. So you can add a filter called Search Keywords, and you can, if you've put keywords in here, you can use that for searching. The profile image, as you can see, I have a happy face for my profile image here, but we have lots of other different types of images. As you can see, the challenge lab, the activity-based, clouds, learn-on-demand systems, all of those are different images. And if you're showing a course catalog, a subscription catalog, or when a user opens up a course assignment, they can see those images for the course. In order to use an image, you'll have to store it somewhere, like in a blob, and have a URL in order to access it. Once you put that URL in, an image will show for you. The organization is who owns and manages the course. So if I have it at Career Rocket, if I put it in a sub-org, they can manage it as well. If it's up here, my sub-orgs cannot manage it, but the parent org can always manage anything that's assigned to a sub-org. So that just depends on who you have creating courses and who you want to have access to edit the course. For your program, you'll always have training. Some organizations have multiple programs so that they can manage within their one organization. They can manage different types of access for creating, editing, or opening courses to manage them. Duration is a legacy kind of billing item, and it isn't used by most organizations today. Training days allows you to set how many days you expect a class to take when you're going to schedule it. I think I want this one. So when I go to create a new class and I have added a course, so based on the course, it's going to pull the training days for my sessions. When I open the sessions, by default, I get 5 days because that's what's set on the course for training days. And you can change that when you're creating the class. I can change it to 3, I can change it to 30, whatever you want. But that is what controls how many sessions show up here when you're creating a class. We talked about content provider. Discussion allows you to set up a discussion. Oh, I know who I wanted to use for that. One moment, please. For a student, when they go into a class that has a discussion set up, they'll get a link right up here for the discussion. So anybody who has a course assignment for the course, who has an enrollment for the course, who instructs the course, can come in and participate then in any of the topics that you've set up for discussion. And they can add a question, they can answer a question that they've seen, so they can post anything and participate in a discussion between anybody who has taken that course at any time. That is for my student. That is discussions. So you can add moderators. They are the people that you set up, and you set up topics and manage the discussions. So that's available to you as well. We talked about archived, available instructor-led, and self-paced. Showing on course catalog will show on the course catalog for you then. That is a feature that has to be set up by our staff. So if you do want a course catalog, you can request that from our help desk. Adding something as featured allows you to have this little featured icon right here. And it also, in a catalog, will move it to the top, the first items in the catalog. Normally, catalogs will show in alphabetical order, but with featured, it pops it to the top. And if I'm in Find Courses, it doesn't pop it to the top, but it also shows the featured icon next to it to draw some attention to it. So when I do set something as featured, I can choose how long I want that to show up that way and set my date for it. You may have also noticed we have the new icon as well. And the new icon is not set up on the course. The new icon is set up on your organization profile. When you edit your organization profile, there are some course settings that are in here that you may be interested in. You can go to the Preferences tab, and there's a heading for courses down here. So you can choose whether or not to default courses to be available instructor-led and or self-paced. So if you're only doing self-paced learning, you don't want to have to uncheck that every time you make a course. You can uncheck instructor-led here, and it'll default to only having self-paced on it. Here's where we set up how long our new icon shows. You can set the number of days you want it to show up as new. We're going to be talking about course feedback in a minute. Course ratings, you can set this up to display on your catalog. And I did not get my rating course in here. I am sorry. But we can find the right place again. You can actually set up how many ratings have to be input on a course from course feedback. So if they've given you a thumbs up or a thumbs down, they liked it or they didn't like it, and you can say, hey, I don't want the ratings to show like if there's only 2 in there, but you could say maybe I want to show it after there's 50. And you can say that you don't want to show a rating unless it is above a certain percentage as well. So you can kind of protect yourself if there are some less than optimal courses out there that may need a little work. You can still see them, but your end users cannot. So you can manage that. Let's see. And next on our list is simple course feedback. Simple course feedback lets you I'm going to be in the wrong place again. I apologize. Simple course feedback allows a user to say like happy face or sad face, they liked or did not like the course, and that'll be a positive or negative on here. You can see who the user is, how they took that course, if it was a course assignment, class enrollment, and what class it was in. You can see which activity they were on when they gave the rating. And so this is a specific lab that they were rating here. And you can see if they left any feedback about it, what they said. So you can see different items in here about your courses if you enable feedback. And then that's available to anybody who has a course assignment or an enrollment, and to instructors to leave course feedback. Enabling achievements for outside organizations, this really only applies to in two scenarios have to apply. One is you have to be selling content to other organizations or making content available to other organizations. So you're selling your courses, and along with those courses, you're using achievements or badges. And at that point, you can say, hey, yeah, these other organizations can also earn these badges or achievements from these courses if you enable it. Allow activity disablement within classes. When you enable this, it lets you, trying to guess which one I have it in. Okay. Jane, course feedback sample. Okay, so when you have this enabled, you can, as an instructor in a class, when I come down to my activities, I have these options available to disable all activities. And over here, I have for each activity an enabled button. So I can click on disable all activities, and I can still open and use that activity as an instructor. But my students, my darling student here, will not have access to that. And they'll see that the activities are out there, but they'll also see that it's disabled by instructor. So they can disable all, or they can disable them one at a time. It takes about 30 seconds. It can take about 30 seconds for the disabled to show up for the student. This shows up automatically. Every once in a while, you have to hit refresh to get it to show. But I can, this way, it allows me to control a little bit about what activity my students are working on and keeps them from getting ahead of me if, or not paying attention during class if I'm in a lecture, that kind of thing. So you can choose to have all your activities enabled or disabled, and that gives your instructors a little more access. This one goes along with the disablement feature. So allow activities to be auto-enabled after a class ends. So if you want your students to, in their post-class access to the activities, if you want to make sure that your instructor doesn't forget to re-enable their activities, you can have it automatically reset those and re-enable them at the end of class. Let's move on to the advanced tab. We're going to skip everything in between. In a couple of weeks, we have another webinar about course activities specifically. And on here, you can customize a few things. For instance, you can change a calendar color, and you can set courses to be specific colors so that they show on your calendar. You may have a set type of courses that you want to set to, you know, a particular color so that you know those are always that kind of course. So you can control that there. An external ID allows you to, if you have a course ID over in your own system, on your own platform, and you want to relate it over to the course that you have in our system, you can input an external ID here. Surveys, you can set up a survey on a course, and when it's set up on the course, it will automatically be in place for any class that is created from that survey. When you go into a survey, you can create them right here in the system, and you have different types of questions that you can ask. So you're looking for people's opinions. You can have multiple choice questions with either one answer available or multiple answers available. You can have text and essay questions with just one field, multiple fields, or an essay with as much as they want to say about anything can be put in. Any rating scale questions where it gives you a percentage based on all the answers within the all the surveys taken. And you can do matrix style questions that are not rated. And it can be only one answer per line, row, or it can be multiple answers per row. So you can set up all of those types of surveys for yourself and use them in for your student, your instructor, your organization. For a student survey, you can set what time that survey is available before the class ends or after a class ends. And for the it's all of these are available at the bottom of the class activities when they're set up. An instructor survey is only available to the instructor teaching the class, and it is available once the class starts for the instructor, and an organization survey is available for when the class is created, but it's only available to operations managers. And those are all at the bottom of the class activities. If you allow class self-enrollment, it will set up the class. It will set up the class so that, I'm going to go into advanced features here, so that allow self-enrollment is enabled for users that have the self-enrollment role. So there is a self-enrollment role out there you can assign and enable those. You can see we have other options where you can allow anybody to self-enroll in a class, and you can choose to allow them to self-enroll while the class is in progress as well. So this is the one that it chooses if you do enable self-enrollment. If you allow self-paced self-assignment for a course, users can then, if they can see the course catalog or get to the course from Find Courses, they can, and they have the self-assignment role, then they could enroll into that, start a course assignment for that class. And this, on this self-assignment requires valid subscription. They would actually have to be given a subscription before they could self-assign that, no matter if they could see the course or not. To allow recordings, this lets you set how many days that recording is available. Recordings are only available for classes that have virtual meetings in them, and the only virtual meeting hosts that are integrated, fully integrated ones. So you either have to have Adobe Connect or Zoom fully integrated by our help desk again, in order for the recordings to be available. Let's look at my student, because I'm pretty sure she has recordings. So on the enrollment right here, she'll see the recordings. She can go in here and watch a recording and play whatever it was from the class. If you allow supplemental recording access, that means that on your class recording, so I mean as an ops manager right now, so when I go to recordings, it adds this availability section, and I can choose who has access to those recordings. So by default, it's always going to be the enrolled students in the class, but you can change it over to anyone from your organization, any authenticated user, anybody at all. You can choose like maybe all your instructors to be able to take a view a delivery of a class because it was really great. And you can do things like add a specific person and add it for them to be able to see. So if I do that for myself, for me to be able to view this, I would go to my transcript, and way down at the bottom of my transcript, I have recordings available to me that I can open up and then view. So we're at the very end here, guys. Like the self-assignment required a valid subscription, you can also set that any course assignment must be within a subscription, and a subscription assignment for the user for them to be able to create it. And last but not least is allow anonymous access to course details page. This lets you, when this is enabled, you can copy out that URL for your course and share it out to somebody, and they do not have to authenticate. They don't have to log in order to view that course profile and see all the information about it. So they could come to this page and be able to read information on the course without logging in. That is that, as we say. So we're going to wrap up now. And we do have more resources for you about creating a course. You can get to those at lods.one/documentation. And you'll want to get to the administrator tab and open the courses section. We'd love it if you join us for another webinar. And next week we have our workshop lab developer workshop. So the following week will be a normal webinar again on Thursday, May 6th, and it'll be about API and LTI integrations in the TMS and in Lab on Demand. If you want to register for that, you can go to lods.one/feature demos. And hey, we want your feedback. We'd love it if you'll go, if you have ideas, like as you're working through the TMS or Lab on Demand, and you think, wow, it should work this way, or I wish I could do this. You can share those ideas to us, with us at lods.one/feedback. You can also see other ideas that have been submitted by other organizations, and you can vote on whether or not you think they're good. And you can join us on Slack at labauthor.slack.com to join conversations there. And you can also give us a review on G2, and that's at lods.one/review us. And that goes out to public, so you can share what you think of us out to the public. And thank you.